to launch this off as we come back, I think this will be an interesting one for giving the audience something to think about the way myself and the Bard work is, my dad once said this, which is his judge of how well someone knows their subject is, he said, someone who has mastery of a subject can talk for an hour from notes on the back of a letter, as in like an envelope.
Okay.
That someone who really knows the subject can make notes on the back of an envelope and talk on that point for an hour. I reckon both of us could probably do that on Lord of the Rings.
Well, Doctor, I don't want to, like, vindicate your dad, but I can do, because your dad sounds awesome, but, like, I do have one side of A4, and like I've got notes on it, and I've got a lot to go. So
I mean, yeah, I think what that's getting at, which is fair enough, is here's Otha Flesh Burner, and he's wearing a fucking brazier on his head.
His head's on fire. He's terrifying. I kind of like how like his head looks like the Tower of Barad-dûr.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's deliberate, but that's really fucking cool.
But yeah, no, I think the point there is, which is I think a fair one, is that here we go. People who are inexperienced make notes about about words to say, whereas people who are experienced on a subject, their notes will be topics. So you can talk for 10 minutes off a single bullet point because it will just be like, remember to talk about this. Like someone could say to me quite happily, another one, Crimp Ranger Killer.
Oh my god.
Crimp, so like, sorry, he's giving me the accent.
This is kind of cool. This is kind of cool because if we kill the archer, like the archer main captain, then his lieutenant might take over.
Yeah, do we want that though? I guess is always the question. But yeah, the whole point about notes, I think, is very much about like if I was giving a talk on like my academic career to date, it could literally be like, spend 10 minutes talking about your undergraduate, spend 5 minutes talking about your master's, spend 20 minutes talking about your PhD. Those would be 3 notes, but each of those would last. Oh god, this guy's got a lot of named people following him. Fucking hell.
A third.
Yeah, but like that's the whole point of notes is just, remember to talk about this, and you're not actually saying anything about what you're gonna talk about. You're just saying, mention this, but each of those mentions could be hours long, not quite hours, but you know what I mean.
Which is
Jesus
like
fucking what?
Whoa!
This guy blew up again. Fuck.
So they have some explosive weapon we're not aware of. We'll come back to that, but let's. I'm going to come back to your public speaking point in a second, but let's see how this plays out.
I think all these guys are going to move into the power vacuums we've created.
Oh, this is interesting, because lots of these guys were already in existence. We just hadn't encountered them.
Yeah.
This is so fucking cool. But that guy we just knew killed the other guy. Oh my god, this is really cool.
Uruks are constantly fighting each other.
I love this, by the way. Sorry, Doctor?
I was just saying, I was reading what it said on the screen, that Uruks are constantly fighting each other for... Oh, the fucking Eminem's still going! Yeah, Blorg the Rhymer.
Oh, we're gonna have to go and fight the real Slim Shady.
I mean, we can.
Because we are the real Slim Shady. I'm gonna address your point about public speaking. So, at least in my mind, public speaking always came naturally to me. I can talk for hours about a subject I'm, halfway reticent about.
Yeah.
And I know a shit ton about Lord of the Rings. So, was it yours or your old man's comment about how if you've got a pamphlet of notes,
yeah,
or
it's my dad's
a letter of notes.
I think he's taken it, I think, from someone else. I think it's a relatively standard assessment of a serious academic is that they can that's the level of mastery of a subject. Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily an academic thing. So
no, but I think that's why my dad's come across it. Same with me.
I think it's good advice, but I don't think it's always relevant to academia
it's not
more than anything else.
Not the be all and end.
So viewership, if you're listening to this and you think you need to improve your public speaking, then honestly, speak about something you're knowledgeable and passionate about, and that's all you really need to do. That's what the Doctor and I do. We love video games. We love Lord of the Rings. All we do is come on and we get drunk and we talk about the things we know.
And
I
think it's cool to stress
that's all we do.
It's cool to stress that everyone has that. I think everyone has something on which they could talk about. If we take the classic level of 45 minutes talk, 15 minutes questions. I think almost everyone, even if they're not very comfortable with public speaking, I think almost everyone has something they could talk about passionately for 45 minutes and answer questions on for 15 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, I entirely stand by this. So, there's a really good quote from someone. I wish I knew who it was. Maybe the sprite can look it up later on when we edit this. But there's a really, really good quote from somebody who says, like, everybody is an expert in something.
Yeah.
And when you meet a new person, find out what they're an expert in and ask them about it, because you're going to learn something, right?
Yeah, and it is fascinating how much everyone does have that of something that they can just.
Everybody's got it.
Yeah.
So, like, I met a man recently, like, at a wedding, who is a gamekeeper. Like, so, like, he raises, like, deer and, like, hunt and helps people hunt those deer on a private estate in Scotland, which is, it's kind of a rad job, actually.
So you met Hagrid, is what you did.
Kind of, yeah. So, like, I met, like, a modern day version of Hagrid, and truthfully, this man's a dickhead. I don't like him. Like, within 5 minutes of meeting him, I knew that, like, this wasn't my kind of person. Not because he was a gamekeeper, just because, like, this particular person was a knob. But, like, I learned so much from him. He had a lot of good stories. Like, he told me a bunch of really cool things that I would never have learned if I hadn't spoken to him. So, like, even your adversaries, in a way, like your social adversaries or people that you would never ordinarily interact with, can teach you things. And I think, like, viewership, if you take nothing else away from this, like, I hope you learn a lot about Lord of the Rings from these videos. But if you take nothing else away, then learn that your adversaries, quote unquote, can still teach you things. And I hope that that's something that sticks with you.
I mean, yeah, I don't want to take away from what you said, because that was actually a really cool point, but also, yeah, the overall arching thing is talk to people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not exactly, 100%. Like, I'm not criticizing you for this, but that's not exactly a stunning development. Turns out you'll learn something if you talk to people. Who knew?
Yeah. No, that
and I'm not shitting on you saying that at all. Don't worry.
No. Oh, I know you're not a doctor, but, like, that shouldn't be a stunning development.
Yeah.
Is, like, even people who are in opposition to you, quote unquote, like, have useful things to say.
Right. So Uruks must prove.
Oh, we're fighting the real. Are we fighting the real Slim Shady now?
No, it seems like the real Slim Shady is going into what can only be described as a rap battle.
Oh!
Uruks must prove themselves in deadly public challenges. If they survive and do not flee, they will increase in power. Invade the trial of Leotiel to weaken Sauron's army.
Hang on. When you say, like, he's the real Slim Shady, and anyone else who says they're the real Slim Shady is just talking shit.
I think I was about 22 before I realised that Eminem and Slim Shady were the same person.
We're the same. I think Slim Shady, like, I'm dating a woman who's actually very into the works of Eminem, but his alter ego, I think, is Slim Shady.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Oh no, he sees us now. Oh, that's not bad. Oh, his scary eyes.
Oh no, he won. Fuck.
Oh.
That was fast. We didn't get much of a chance to fucking intervene there.
Well, I think we fuck off. Let's not fight the real.
Well, no, he's just got significantly more powerful. I mean, this is the nice thing. We got power for taking part in that, but that increased his power. It doesn't matter what happens. We get a bonus for being involved in the power struggle. Unfortunately, it didn't play out to our advantage.
That's really cool, and furthermore, like, it's fucking rad that the real Slim Shady just, like, got an upgrade, completely independent. Like, this whole, like, narrative, like, viewership. I hope when you're watching this, you're rooting for the real Slim Shady and not the Doctor and I, because we're hacks. We're hacks and frauds, but the real Slim Shady's doing good work here. Now, can we finally get back to drugs and Lord of the Rings?
Absolutely, we can. I'm just going to grab this warp point, and then from there, I'm going to be fanning around doing some side stuff to level up until we can defeat Mark the Rock Johnson, or whatever he's called, so...
So if you're I'm going to talk at length about... Yeah,
Dwayne the other twin Johnson.
Dwayne the other orc twin Johnson. But, like, anyway, I'm going to talk a lot about drugs in Lord of the Rings, because if you weren't paying attention, there's a shit ton of drugs in Lord of the Rings. So in an early episode, or maybe in this episode, we talked about how, like, pipe weed is clearly it's cannabis. Like, it's not conventional tobacco. There's a hallucinogenic, like, mellowing quality to whatever the hobbits are smoking that is not conventional tobacco, which is fine, which is really, really cool. Suggesting, interestingly, that Tolkien, the very conservative, like, grew up in the 19th century English gentleman, like, may have been aware, or, like, may have even smoked cannabis. Who knows? Like, that's not for us to speculate on. there's other Tolkien biographers you can
I think
go
that's
to find
that's
out
always
about
the
that.
interesting thing about for me is how much it
Tolkien knew about
contrasts
it.
with Tolkien.
So, like, cannabis consumption was very common in the Victorian period. So, like, in the 19th century, cannabis consumption was, like, very widespread. Like, Queen Victoria, like, smoked cannabis.
Really? See, I
Like,
think
yeah,
this
yeah,
is
like,
like you know, for opium or something, but not for not for cannabis so much. I think of cannabis has been relatively recent.
Oh, no, not at all. So, like, cannabis consumption was, like, a remedy for period pain for Victorian women. Yeah, which is like an awesome expression of like, so women have periods and like that should be acknowledged in this sexless Victorian society. And also, by the way, like Queen fucking Victoria is doing this, so like yeah, y'all should all be. So like Tolkien grew up in the 19th century. Like whether he was aware of that or not is irrelevant. But like clearly cannabis was like part of Victorian society and Victorian culture, and like it existed. And like pipe weed.
I mean, yeah, as you say, he's not exactly being subtle with it there.
No, but this is like a tip of the iceberg thing. So,
But,
like,
I mean, he probably is being subtle on the grounds of, as you say, the pretty much post-Victorian gentleman is basically what Tolkien is. So, arguably, he's actually been surprisingly, progressive.
I hope that many of our viewers have actually watched the interview. By the way, you bug out, Doctor. You're going to die.
Yeah, it's not looking great, is it?
I hope that many of our viewers.
You'll think you've been trampled by a growl.
Yeah, the growls.
Yeah, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to fuck off.
I really hope climb, Doctor. Anyway, I hope that many of our viewers have actually now gone and watched the interview with Tolkien, where like you know what he's like now, having spoken, like not spoken to him, but seen what he's like. He's a very ye olde English gentleman. Like he's very like socially conservative, very constrained, and like he's a wonder. Like it's actually kind of wonderful to hear him speak because like he's obviously a good.
I'm most pleased by the fact that Tolkien sounds exactly as I expect he will.
Oh, he's terrible. Like he's terrible.
Like he's a massive nerd, and he just sounds like an old British gentleman. Like he sounds exactly like, in some ways, he should. And that should is not the right word, but you know what I mean.
He's very, very awkward. He's very, very like obviously self-conscious about his fame and like how he doesn't seem able to live up to it. And anyway, but I get the impression of speaking that he's a very morally minded, very righteous man, which is kind of cool. We'll talk about Tolkien, the individual, Tolkien the man later. Oh,
got it.
Oh, you got it, Neil.
I see. That's a nice thing. Whenever we succeed these, we fucking kill a man, which is great.
I'm sure there's an upgrade that lets us regain health for killing an orc.
Possibly,
anyway, so Tolkien's a very conservative, like upper-minded British gentleman, like etc. etc. But like, clearly, he could not have in his lifetime escaped the existence of cannabis.
Oh shit!
There's no way. Oh, we died. That's
proof for more promotion.
And now this guy is a whole thing.
God,
Doctor, you're creating
I
more servants of Sauron.
I know. I'm like the fucking CIA in the 70s. I just can't stop creating people who will eventually rise to challenge me.
You keep overthrowing Sauron-elected governments.
This guy, what the
look
fucking...
Look at this guy! Look at that guy! He was a regular dude, and now look at... Who's this motherfucker? Like, all these people. And now Hork the Merciful, that guy who, like, didn't kill us, is, like, invincible now.
Fucking Christ.
Hang on a minute. But you keep delaying my excellent story about drugs and Lord of the Rings, which, by the way,
I'm not trying to, I'm just
goddamn
bad
fast.
at this game. Right, I'm going to take on Dwayne The Rock again.
No, hang on.
Right.
Can we review the power levels of the current Orcish captains? Because, like, truthfully, this aspect of the game is fascinating. This Orcish
So
power
we've got this
struggle,
guy is 5, and that's the guy we literally just created.
Wait, who is this guy?
This is the guy we just created. He killed us there. His only claim to fame is he just killed us.
What is his name?
Ishka Fastfeet.
So, like, Ishka, the recent killer. Cool, whatever.
Then Blorg the Rhymer. He's 10.
What was Blorg? Well, so, like, Ishka Fastfeet, what's his power level at?
5.
Okay, and Blorg the Rhymer is
10,
double him. Right, and next to him?
Lamlug the Painted, he's 5.
Okay.
Yeah, the fight.
No idea who. Where did he come from?
He
Who the
was
fuck's he?
involved in a fight we were at with your man. Like, some of these guys are obviously pre-generated, but
Oh, Lieutenant.
yeah, he was at a fight we were at. Where he was there at the feast when we tried to kill the archer, whose name I can't remember. But when we didn't kill him properly, this guy was involved in that thing, and just being present at that fight apparently wasn't enough to.
That's kind of cool. And who's above him?
Above him is Crimp Ranger Killer. He has killed us once, hence the fucking name.
He's killed us. And what's his power level?
12. So he's big.
All right, so like a power level nothing guy. So like the bottom of that particular pyramid.
Well, he's 5.
That guy fucked us up. He's 5, but like so 5 fucked us up.
I mean,
but
right? The issue is
like,
just like anyone can fuck us up when there's a group of 15 Uruks. Like taking someone alone and killing them versus dealing with a mass of Uruks, most of which have fucking names in open combat, is a different thing.
Okay,
then Ratbag is here as a 7.
No,
so he's
right,
he's with us.
But we have artificially bumped him up to there.
And then
what is Dwayne the Rock Orc?
Years.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Then we got this guy here, Hawk the Merciful, who we've had some encounters with. He's 15. So actually, he's higher than the fucking War Chief.
So like, if we kill the War Chief, if we kill Dwayne the Rock Orc, it's not inconceivable that like Hawk the Merciful, a stronger orc, might replace him.
I suspect due to plot reasons, Ratbag will take his place. But yes, I agree with your point.
Okay, cool.
And then we got this guy here, Murgrish the Rugged, who's a 4. He's got very high for a 4. He shouldn't be that high. Right, let's fucking take him on. The 4's got no reason rising that high. That's
look at this like weird warped mutated bastard. We could take him fucking down. Well, I say we.
Yeah, and he's also anyway. We got this line here which says he's apprentice to this man in the top left. Yeah. Well, let's see where he's at. We'll focus on Magrish for now.
Let's do that. Anyway, while the Doctor does this, can I finally talk about drugs and Lord of the Rings?
They were once, man.
Now, I say this viewership, like, and I mean this very genuinely, not as a man who's appearing on YouTube, but like, you don't know who I am. But sincerely, like, I don't do drugs. Like, it's not my jam. Like, I get drunk. Like, I love booze. Booze is great. But like, not a drugs guy. And okay, fair enough. Like, if you are a drugs person, like, I salute you. It's great. You do you.
I'm going to stay out of this discussion.
But we've spoken already. Like, there are drugs in Lord of the Rings. Like, you can ignore it if you want to, but like, you're denying the very, very textual evidence that Tolkien presents to us.
Which, as you say, is fascinating because everything we see public about Tolkien is very conservative. And yet he openly and explicitly, regularly includes drugs in The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, which is why it's almost more surprising that he does.
Yeah,
this,
exactly.
Like, right? So, which is why like more people should be talking about this. But nevertheless, like we have to talk about it, and we should talk about it.
Oh, what a fucking name! Lapbag Runnybag.
Oh, Mick. So
this guy's clearly shit himself in the past.
This is actually very relevant to like the cause of drug use. But, like, hey kids, by the way,
this is the quality the content that subscribers come here for.
Yeah, you shouldn't do drugs, but like, nevertheless, we're gonna like support the guy who clearly does.
Oh, I completely misread the subtitles there. When he said "care," I thought he said "you miserable." I was like, "Wow,
no!
It's this kind of game."
Bleep that! Sprite, bleep. He used a word that is foul. Don't use that word.
Are you one of these people who finds that word particularly offensive?
The C word, and I won't speak it.
Clearly, yes, is the answer to my question.
Yeah. The C word is, like, to my mind, the oldest and vilest word in the English language.
There are older and fouler words for orcs in the deep places of the world.
Yeah, it actually isn't. So, like, you know that, like, the C word is maybe the oldest swear word in the English language. Like, Shakespeare makes reference to it. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this on the channel before. But, like, I will not be deterred. Like, I'm going to talk about drugs in Lord of the Rings, and like, no amount of like dramatic gameplay is going to deter me now. So, no matter what happens, even if Sauron himself appears on screen, I don't care. So, in Lord of the Rings, there's a whole lot of drugs if you pay attention. So, like, clearly the hobbits are not smoking tobacco. They are smoking pipeweed. They are smoking something else. Therefore, when the hobbits are smoking, they are smoking something that's stronger than tobacco. Right? Which is kind of cool for, like, Tolkien, a conservative author.
Surprising, but yeah.
surprising, but nevertheless very, very cool. We have two other prominent examples of the use of like drugs in Lord of the Rings. So, when the Fellowship is trying to get over Caradhras, and like in the early stages after Rivendell, they have some of Elrond's cordial. So,
some sweet
when
fucking
the
elf
Fellowship
drugs.
uses, yeah, exactly. When the Fellowship uses the cordial, like their strength is restored, they feel stronger, like rested, and like literally restores their strength. And you can assume this is a magical health potion, or you can assume this is.
I mean, yeah,
what
there's
it
not
is.
a lot in difference between a magical health potion and drugs. And like industrial strength methamphetamine, yeah.
I was going to say methamphetamine, which is going to tie back into something we've actually already spoken about. And there's another prominent use of like drugs in Lord of the Rings, which is when Merry and Pippin are being captured by the Uruk-hai and carried over the plains of Rohan.
Yes, the Orc Jägermeister.
Yes, the orc liquor. So like Merry and Pippin are fatigued, they're tired, and when they're tired, like they're not complying as prisoners. So like the orcs forcibly make them do some orc liquor, which by Merry and Pippin's own description, it burns, but it does make them feel better. Like they are not as tired, like they feel strength return to their limbs, etc., etc. So like clearly, like if you've done alcohol, guys, like if you've done a drink, alcohol does not return strength to your limbs.
No,
like it makes them sleepy.
This is speed, is what this is.
Like the Doctor's ailing performance of this game can be attributed to like alcohol doesn't make you do things better.
Oh,
absolutely fucking not. So. There's three, as far as we know, explicit examples of like narcotic substances in The Lord of the Rings. By the way, Doctor, I think you should probably flee.
Too late.
Oh, you're getting cut down. It's kind of cool. Anyway. Now, there is like a historical precedent of using like combat-enhancing drugs in actual physical warfare, even within Shaka the Poet!
Sweet iron tang gets my blood up.
Oh, what a fucking pervert. Get away from me. No, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Actually, I'm actually doing... okay. No, get away from me. No. Oh, Christ.
Oh, you can still do the counter if you're quick enough.
Oh shit, I pressed the wrong fucking button. So, nope, this guy's gonna become some prick as well.
Well, whilst the Doctor regenerates...
Fulgrim over here, yeah.
Fulgrim. In any case, like there are documented examples of like the use of narcotics in Lord of the Rings, but interestingly by both sides, which is kind of cool. So like obviously the orcs use like their weird orc liquor, and Elrond gives like the Fellowship cordial, which is like it can only be one thing. And even like as Tolkien was writing this, so we know that like in 1939 he hasn't gone further than Balin's tomb. And by the time we get to Balin's tomb, like, they've had a couple of sips of the cordial that Elrond gives them Rivendell. But by 1945, the story is like largely formed. Like he's done a lot more writing. And over the 6 years of the war, we know that like the Wehrmacht is a fighting force in the world, and the Wehrmacht does a fuck ton of drugs. Doctor, how much do you know about the Wehrmacht and their drug program?
Some.
Hey, tell me what you know.
Our foes are trapped
They had...
in the
oh,
terror
what the
of
fuck?
Dark Lord and the terror of
Sorry, my controller's run out of batteries.
And fear being
Oh no, the Doctor's cut out. If only the controller had some methamphetamine.
Indeed.
It could go
Yeah,
on.
no, they did. Much as a lot of people were doing at that time. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna sound like shit 'cause I'm scrabbling for batteries. But yeah, they were certainly... there was a lot of promising research being done about what was essentially speed in keeping people going beyond what the limits of what would generally be considered reasonable for human physiology.
Absolutely. So like before we finally get to this like viewership, there's a lot that's got to happen. I'm finally going to get to tell like the culmination of the drugs in Lord of the Rings that we've just laid out, very scholarly with much evidence before we get to this stage. But the Doctor and I might need a quick break, and if you're still watching this, all we ask is that you like, you share, you subscribe. We're going to get more drinks. We're having an absolutely tremendous time. It's a great game, by the way. You should buy it.
Yeah, I'm
play
genuinely
it.
enjoying this a lot.
But we'll see you soon as the Doctor slams into the ground. You slam into your life, viewership. We'll be back soon.